And welcome back to AUVSI Exponential 2022 here at the Auterion booth. My first surprise guest. Remember, in our earlier show, I said we would leave open spaces for surprise guests. And when I told Cynthia that I would love for her to be on stage, she was surprised. Cynthia Huang, she is our Vice President of Business Development, and she has created some buzz yesterday with her amazing panel. Tell us a little bit more about your panel that you led.
So it was wonderful to just be able to get back into kind of the conference swing and to be able to host panels again. So actually, I've done two panels this week that I'm really excited to kind of share a little bit more about, off of the conference stage. So the first one on the first day was with the NRECA, the National Rural Electric Co-ops Association, and that was with Stan McCann. And that was really great because it was great to sort of talk about Stan's background. He is a huge supporter of open source. He comes from his background comes from quite a couple industries that have seen transformation because of the movement to open source. So he was able to give us some great insights on how he's starting to see that when it comes to the realm of robotics as well as utilities. And he's really at the forefront of driving that for the electric cooperatives across America, which if our viewers don't know, the co-ops in America, there's over 900 of them. And collectively, they provide power to about more than 60% of the U.S. land mass. So they are a significant force. Yeah. My panel yesterday was also wonderful. I was joined by a couple of the largest utilities in the nation, and these are dear colleagues and friends from the past couple of years, and it was great to see them again. But beyond that, it was great to bring together a group of really great industry leaders who were able to share with us their insights and to talk about how they see the future of robotics as being defined by open source and open standards. With me on a panel yesterday, we had Corey Hitchcock from Southern Company, we had Heath McLemore from Florida Power and Light, we had Andy McCauley from Baltimore Gas and Electric, we had Tina Daring from representing San Diego Gas and Electric as well as Hawaii Electric, and then we also had Christina Sorrow from San Diego Gas and Electric as well. So we had a really great group, lots of diverse use cases. I think my highlight was just hearing from them how in the past few years, their drone programs have not slowed down at all. And I think we've talked about this in kind of some other forums before, but when it comes to like sort of, the pandemic and its impact on drone programs, surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly because we've talked about it so much by now, but it's actually propelled a lot of programs forward. It's actually accelerated a lot of things.
It is quite fascinating that we didn't expect that in the beginning of all of this.
We thought everything would be shut down, period.
Yeah, but in retrospect, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy to see that. Now, you and I were kind of like AUVSI Exponential veterans. We've seen quite a few of these events.
Yeah.
How does this particular one feel to you?
I'm a little bit biased because this is my first major conference in quite a while, right? But I would have to say it's just been great. It's really been great to connect with people again, to see so many, familiar faces, to be able to hear kind of the conversations, and also to kind of observe how things are the same but a little bit different, right? Let me see. What are some highlights or some key differences? I think there's a lot more awareness right now. I think there's a lot more awareness. There's a lot more of a collaborative mindset. I think people are coming together and really looking at sharing some of the learnings from the last few years of kind of like isolation and stuff. People are really excited to engage again, to be able to learn from each other, to be able to share what they've been doing. And I think that's just created a really great atmosphere overall at the show.
I totally agree with you. It's nice to have that interaction again in person. And from my perspective, walking around and looking at some of the displays, some of the products, not just drones, but also robotics, it has matured. It has become more defined. The product looked more more strong, more thought through, and certainly software is much more present here on the show floor than before. And that's really, I think, one of the highlights, especially for us here on the Auterion side, to see more software out there.
Yeah, and if I can just add, I feel like some of the previous shows, maybe there's a little bit more of a focus on hardware, because when you're looking at doing a proof of concept project, when you are kind of just beginning to start out and try to prove some value for your use case or organization or whatever, it kind of starts at the hardware side. But then now we're seeing a stage where not just the industry, but all the different verticals that comprise this industry have really matured, like you said, and they're looking at how do we scale our program, how do we standardize things so that our programs are sustainable, so that our programs can translate into more than just very superficial low-hanging fruit value, but really deep, plugged-in, integrated value for their organization. And that's why we're seeing this big shift towards software being more important, right? Because that's at the end of the day what allows you to take a fledgling drone program into something that's critical and actually plugged into the greater organization.
Yeah, I completely agree. Cynthia, thank you so much for
Absolutely.
joining me as a surprise. It was great to get your insights. And we will be looking for some other special surprise guests. So tune in a little bit later. Thank you and see you soon.